The sun had barely started its slow descent over the Gulf Coast when the silver SUV pulled into the narrow driveway of the oceanfront house. The air smelled of salt and wet palms, and somewhere nearby, gulls were screeching over the water. "Here it is," Jason Brooks announced, cutting the engine and twisting in his seat to flash a grin at the others. "Our little slice of paradise." Emma Carter pressed her forehead against the cool glass, her journalist's eyes scanning the two-story house. White walls, a wraparound porch, a small swimming pool shimmering in the fading light, it looked perfect, almost too perfect. Sophie Adams leaned forward from the back seat. "Finally. I swear, that drive from Miami felt like forever. I need a shower and a drink." "In that order." Ryan Miller, sitting beside her, chuckled softly. "Or maybe the other way around for you." Their laughter was light, but Emma felt the old tension between Ryan and herself. They had broken up 6 months ago, yet here they were, in the same car, on the same trip, pretending everything was fine. Luke Harrison, the quietest of the group, was the first to get out. He stood by the trunk, scanning the quiet street lined with palms and pastel-painted houses. "Strange," he murmured. "For a tourist spot, it's awfully quiet." "Off-season," Jason replied, dragging his suitcase out. "Means we get the beach to ourselves." Inside, the house was just as the pictures had promised: open-plan kitchen, airy living room with ocean views, 5 bedrooms, one for each of them. Emma wandered through the hallway, her fingertips brushing the cool white walls. "Feels staged," she said, half to herself. Sophie poked her head from the kitchen. "You mean like all those Instagram rentals?" "Yeah. Probably belongs to some rich couple who never even live here." Ryan set his bag by the stairs. "Or someone who's just really good at cleaning up before strangers arrive." Jason was already filming a panoramic view of the backyard for his vlog. "Guys, relax. First night, first drinks. Let's make a toast to bad decisions and better stories." They laughed, and for a moment, the house felt warm and welcoming. Yet as the sun finally slipped below the horizon, a chill seemed to creep in with the evening breeze. The neighbors across the street closed their blinds in unison, and a single porch light flickered on and off before dying completely. Emma shivered. "Did you guys feel that?" she whispered. Luke turned to her, his eyes unreadable. "What?" She forced a smile. "Nothing. Just the wind." But in the far corner of the backyard, near the shadowed line of palms, something moved, or maybe it was only the swaying of the leaves. The morning sun rose over the Atlantic, spilling gold across the pale wooden floors. Emma woke to the smell of coffee and the faint hum of the ceiling fan. For a moment, everything felt ordinary, until Sophie burst into her room, face pale and eyes wide. "Emma, you need to come downstairs. Now." Emma's heart clenched. "What happened?" Sophie didn't answer. She just stepped aside, and Emma followed her down the narrow staircase. Jason stood in the living room, phone in his trembling hands. Ryan hovered near the sliding glass doors, his face ashen. Luke was by the kitchen counter, his hands clenched into fists. The air smelled wrong, metallic, heavy. On the tiled patio near the pool lay a body. The morning light caught the wet sheen on the man's shirt, dark, spreading, unmistakable. Jason's voice cracked. "I tried to call 911. They're sending someone, but they didn't sound in a rush." Emma stepped closer. The victim was a stranger, or so it seemed at first. Mid-40s, sunburned skin, graying hair. Not one of them. Relief mingled with a fresh wave of fear. "Who is he?" she whispered. Ryan shook his head. I don't know. I locked the doors last night." From outside came a voice. "Hey! You folks okay?" An elderly woman in a pink robe stood by the low fence. I heard screams around 3 this morning. Did someone break in? Emma glanced at the others. Did anyone hear anything? No, Luke said flatly. I slept like a rock. Jason swallowed. I thought I heard something. But I figured it was the wind. The sirens finally wailed in the distance, slow and reluctant. The neighbors were gathering now, whispering, watching. Sophie wrapped her arms around herself. Why would they leave a body here? Who does that? Emma crouched by the edge of the patio, her journalist's instincts buzzing. There were no broken windows, no forced locks. Just a dead man on their doorstep, as if he had walked in himself, or been placed there. The first officer arrived, a tall man with mirrored sunglasses. He glanced at the group, then at the corpse. All right, folks. Step back. We'll handle this. But the way his eyes slid over the scene, casual and unconcerned, sent a cold shiver down Emma's spine. He didn't look like a man who believed a crime had been committed. By mid-morning, the backyard had turned into a crime scene. Yellow tape flapped in the ocean breeze, and 2 patrol cars blocked the narrow street. A detective in a gray suit introduced himself as Detective Harris, mid-50s, calm voice, sharp eyes that missed nothing. Let's keep this simple, he said, flipping open a notebook. Who found the body? Jason raised his hand reluctantly. I did. Went out for a swim, saw him lying there. Thought he was drunk at first. Any of you recognize him? Harris scanned their faces. One by one, they shook their heads. Luke stood a little apart, arms crossed. He wasn't here when we arrived. I checked the yard before bed. Harris scribbled something down. Doors locked? Ryan nodded. All of them. I double-checked. The detective looked unimpressed. And yet, a man ends up dead on your patio. Did anyone hear or see anything unusual? Sophie bit her lip. Our neighbor said she heard screams around 3. But, none of us did. Emma felt his gaze linger on her longer than on the others. And you, Miss Carter. Emma Carter, she said. I didn't hear anything either. Harris's brow furrowed. Strange, isn't it? One house hears screams, the house where the body shows up hears nothing. Jason bristled. Are we suspects now? We just got here last night. No one said you're suspects, Harris replied evenly. But until we know who he is and why he's here, everyone's a possibility. Emma glanced at the corpse being loaded into a van. The man's features looked rougher in daylight, a scar above his left eyebrow, calloused hands, faint smell of alcohol lingering in the air. Not a random tourist, she thought. He looked local. Will you at least tell us his name? She asked. Harris slid his notebook into his jacket. When we know for sure, you'll know. For now, don't leave town. Ryan exhaled sharply. We rented this place for a week. Then enjoy your stay, the detective said without a hint of humor. As the officers drove off, the neighborhood returned to its uneasy silence. The blinds across the street twitched shut again. Sophie rubbed her arms. I hate this. It's like the whole street is watching us. Jason forced a laugh. Come on. It's Florida. Weird stuff happens here all the time. But Emma wasn't convinced. There was something calculated about the way the body had been left. And something told her this was only the beginning. That evening, the house felt different. The ocean breeze no longer smelled like salt and freedom, it carried a hint of rust, of something sour. Jason tried to lighten the mood with music and cocktails, but nobody was really drinking. Emma sat by the sliding doors, watching the moonlight ripple across the pool. Ryan hovered near the kitchen, scrolling through his phone like he was searching for answers that weren't there. Luke had disappeared into his room hours ago. Sophie finally broke the silence. Should we leave? Just pack and go? And say what? Jason scoffed. That we're scared of a dead guy we didn't even know? Ryan glanced up. The detective doesn't want us leaving town. That alone is a reason to stay. Emma's gaze caught something outside, a faint glimmer near the fence, where the grass dipped toward the palms. She grabbed a flashlight and stepped out before anyone could stop her. Emma, wait, Sophie called, but she didn't. The beam of light swept over damp grass, a few scattered leaves, and something metallic. Emma crouched and pulled out a small silver key, half buried in the soil. It wasn't from the house, she had checked the keys earlier. This one was older, scratched, with a faded tag that read, Room 6. Jason appeared behind her. What is that? A clue, Emma whispered. Or a plant. They brought it inside. Ryan examined it carefully, then looked at Luke, who had silently appeared in the doorway. You were out here last, weren't you? Luke's expression didn't change. I went for a smoke. Didn't see a key. Sophie hugged herself. Could it be his? The dead man's? Or someone wants us to think that, Emma said quietly. The clock struck midnight. Outside, a car slowed near the house, then rolled past without stopping. The blinds across the street twitched again. Ryan locked the doors, for the third time that night. I don't like this, he muttered. Emma pocketed the key. She wasn't sure why, but something told her it wasn't meant for the police just yet. Morning came heavy and gray, clouds rolling in from the ocean. The house smelled of stale coffee and unspoken arguments. Jason was the first to speak. So, about that key, he drummed his fingers on the table. Any theories? Motel? Storage? Secret basement? Emma placed the key on the wooden surface. The tag says, Room 6. No hotel logo, no address. Just a number. Ryan leaned forward. Could be from anywhere. But the real question is, why was it buried in our yard? Luke, arms crossed, stared at the key like it had personally insulted him. Or why you decided to keep it instead of turning it in. Emma met his gaze. Because the police didn't take this seriously. They acted like a drunk wandered in and died. This isn't random. Sophie rubbed her temples. Can we not fight? We came here to relax, remember? No one's relaxing with a body count of 1, Ryan said coldly. Jason stood. All right, enough. We find where the key belongs, maybe we find who dumped that guy here. Emma nodded. Agreed. I'll start by checking local motels. There can't be that many with room numbers that low. Ryan looked skeptical. And what, just walk in asking if they lost a corpse key? Better than sitting here waiting for another body to show up, Emma shot back. Sophie hesitated. What if the killer is one of us? The words hung in the air like smoke. Jason laughed nervously. Come on, sophomore. We've known each other for years. People change, she whispered. Luke's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Outside, the rain started, slow, steady, soaking the sand and palm trees. The key glinted under the kitchen light, an object too small to carry so much weight. By late afternoon, the rain had cleared, leaving the air heavy and wet. Emma sat with her laptop at the kitchen counter, scrolling through local listings. There were 3 motels within 5 miles, all with 6 or more rooms. Jason peered over her shoulder. Which one looks the creepiest? Let's start there. Before Emma could answer, the front door opened. A tall man in a linen shirt stepped in, keys jingling. Hi there, folks. I'm Mark Willis, the property owner. Heard about the unfortunate situation. Ryan stiffened. You just let yourself in? Mark smiled, all teeth. It's my property. Airbnb says I can check if there's a disturbance. Sophie forced a polite tone. Did you know the man who died here? Mark shook his head. Never seen him. But this neighborhood attracts wanderers. Luke leaned against the wall. The kind who end up dead in our backyard? Mark's smile faltered. Listen, this place has history. Don't dig where you don't want answers. He left as quickly as he arrived, leaving a faint smell of cologne and something else, cigarette smoke. As dusk fell, Emma stepped outside to breathe. That's when she saw him, an older man across the street, sitting on his porch, eyes fixed on their house. He raised a hand in a slow wave. She crossed over. Evening. You saw something the other night, didn't you? The man nodded. Name's Walter. Heard the screams. Saw a shadow near your fence, too. Not one of you. Taller. Broad shoulders. Emma's pulse quickened. Did you tell the police? Walter spat into the grass. Told Em everything. They don't care. Around here, some things get buried deep. Like that body? His eyes narrowed. Like a lot more than that. Back inside, Jason locked the door. Creepy owner. Creepy neighbor. Who's next? The butler? Ryan looked at the key on the table. No. Next is whoever that belongs to. The next morning, they decided to split up. Jason, Sophie, and Emma took the SUV, leaving Ryan and Luke behind. The first two motels were dead ends, old, faded places with missing letters on the signs and suspicious managers who had never seen the key before. The third one was different. A blue neon sign flickered, Seabreeze Motel. 6 rooms, all on one level, facing a cracked parking lot. Emma walked up to the office window. A bored clerk looked up from his phone. Help you? She held up the key. Does this belong here? His eyes darted to it too fast. Never seen it. Jason leaned in. Room 6. Who's in there? No one, the clerk said. Vacant. Can we see it? Emma asked. Not without a reservation. Jason slipped a 50 across the counter. The clerk hesitated, then tossed a plastic tag onto the desk. 10 minutes. Room 6 smelled of mildew and bleach. The bed was unmade, sheets half pulled, a faint copper stain on the carpet near the bathroom. Sophie's voice was barely a whisper. Is that blood? Emma crouched, touching the edge with her pen. Looks like it. Recently cleaned. There was more, a torn receipt under the nightstand, crumpled and damp. She smoothed it out, Mark Willis, Coastal Repairs. The name of their Airbnb owner. Jason swore under his breath. So the guy rents us a house and has a room where someone bled out? That's not a coincidence. Footsteps echoed outside. Emma peeked through the blinds, a dark SUV parked by the office. The same one Mark had driven. Time to go, she hissed. They slipped out the back, hearts racing. Sophie gripped Emma's arm. What does this mean? Emma stared at the key, the receipt, the empty room. It means our dead man didn't just stumble into our yard. He was delivered. The storm rolled in just after midnight, rain lashing against the windows like fingers on glass. Emma couldn't sleep. The receipt from room 6 lay on her nightstand, a ghost of proof that tied them to something much darker. She got up for water. The hallway was empty, too empty. Ryan's door was open. His bed, untouched. Ryan, she whispered. No answer. Jason stumbled out of his room, rubbing his eyes. What's going on? Ryan's gone. Sophie appeared behind them, pale and shaking. I heard the door. About an hour ago. Thought it was the wind. Luke stepped out last, arms crossed, face unreadable. Maybe he went to the police. Without his phone? Without his shoes? Emma snapped. They searched the house, the yard, even the street. Nothing. Only the sound of waves pounding the shore. Jason found something near the back gate, a wet footprint, larger than Ryan's, leading toward the palms. Beside it, a cigarette butt, still damp. Emma picked it up with a tissue. Same brand Mark Willis smoked. Great, Jason muttered. So now the creepy landlord's collecting us one by one. Sophie clutched her arms. We should call Harris. Emma hesitated. And tell him what? That we lost a friend with no proof he was taken? Luke's voice was low. Maybe he left because he knew something. They all turned to him. What do you mean? Emma asked. Luke didn't blink. I saw him arguing with Mark earlier. Before you came back from the motel. The storm howled louder, drowning their silence. Morning came gray and windless. No sign of Ryan. Jason paced the living room, phone in hand. Voicemail. Straight to it. Sophie sat curled on the couch, eyes red from crying. What if he's already? Don't, Emma interrupted sharply. He's not gone. Not yet. She opened her laptop. A new email had arrived at 3:17 a.m., from Ryan's account. No subject, no text. Just an attachment, a photo. The image was grainy, taken in darkness. A storage room? Concrete floor, metal shelving, and on the wall, the same Coastal Repairs logo from the receipt. And scrawled on cardboard behind it, "Don't trust the landlord." Jason swore. That's him. That's Ryan warning us. Luke leaned over Emma's shoulder. Or someone wants us to think that. Emma zoomed in. A corner of a boot was visible. Not Ryan's. Bigger. Heavy sole. Same tread as the footprint near the back gate. Mark, Sophie whispered. Or someone working for him, Emma said. Either way, Ryan found something. And they silenced him. Jason grabbed the car keys. We should go to the warehouse. Coastal Repairs. Find it before they move him. Luke blocked the door. Or we walk right into a trap. Emma stood. We're already in one. The Coastal Repairs warehouse loomed ahead, half hidden behind rusted gates and overgrown weeds. Emma gripped the key tightly in her hand. Stay sharp, she whispered. Jason rolled his eyes. Do we really need a pep talk? We've survived a dead body, missing Ryan, and creepy landlords. Sophie shivered. I have a bad feeling about this. Luke led the way, silent and calculating. It's not a feeling. It's logic. Whoever took Ryan wants us here, or someone wants us to think we're walking into a trap. Emma nodded, her pulse quickening. The warehouse door creaked as they pushed it open. Inside, shadows shifted. Stacks of boxes formed dark corridors, and the faint smell of metal and oil filled the air. Ryan? Emma called out, her voice trembling. No answer, only echoes. A sudden clatter behind them. Jason spun, nothing. Then, footsteps, deliberate, slow. From the shadows, a man stepped forward. Mark Willis. His smile was cold, predatory. I wondered how long it would take you to show up. The warehouse was filled with the scent of damp cardboard and machinery. Emma scanned the area, eyes landing on a pile of boxes marked with the Coastal Repairs logo. Something glittered from beneath one of them. She knelt and pulled out a blood-stained shirt, unmistakably Ryan's. Jason swallowed hard. This is bad, really bad. Mark Willis's voice cut through the silence. It doesn't have to be. Cooperate, and no one gets hurt. Emma's mind raced. Why Ryan? What did he know? Luke stepped forward, holding up a torn piece of paper he'd found in one of the boxes. It was a receipt, the same as the one from the motel. He found out about the deliveries, about who's been moving bodies. Mark's eyes flicked to the paper. Clever girl. He advanced slowly. But not clever enough. From a shadowed corner, Ryan's voice cracked. You're not getting away with this, Mark. He stumbled out, tied but conscious. Sophie gasped. Emma's heart clenched. They had found him, but the real danger had just begun. The confrontation was tense. Emma, Jason, Sophie, and Luke circled Mark Willis. Ryan struggled against his binds, coughing from the damp air. Why? Emma demanded. Why him? Why here? Mark's smile was chilling. Profit, fear, control. The Airbnb was perfect, secluded, no one questions a rental. Room 6, a staging area. He found out, so he had to disappear. Luke's voice was quiet but deadly. You underestimated them. Us. Sirens wailed outside, cutting through the warehouse's darkness. Someone, neighbors or the police finally responding, had called in. Mark's grin faltered. Emma stepped forward. It's over. You won't hurt anyone else. Mark lunged, but Luke was faster, knocking him to the ground. Within moments, the police swarmed the warehouse. Ryan was untied and shaken, but alive. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds. Emma looked at her friends, battered, exhausted, but still together. The mystery of the dead man, the buried key, the hidden room. It had all been revealed. But the experience would linger, a shadow on their memories of what was supposed to be a simple Florida getaway.